Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Lowdown with Sheli Brown. I'm Sheli.
I'm Christy.
And of course, we've got the producer over there.
Hello. I am kind of off to the side. Oh, I'm also muted, but yes, hello. Hello, everybody. Nice to be on the show and be talking with everybody. Hope all is well.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We're just running a few minutes late today, but definitely excited to talk with you. Thank you for joining. Today's Thankful Thursday. Again, we want to thank all of our drivers for what you do every single day and the sacrifices that you and your families make.
Yeah, and for getting out and looking 50 days straight in a row.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you.
16 days preventable.
Yep, we are at 16 days. Yes, sorry. I know this is the part where I'm supposed to hop on. Yes, it is 16 days of no accidents, no preventable accidents, and we are at 50, the big old 5-0.
So exciting.
Yes, 5-0 on getting out and looking. So great job, guys. I mean, incredible stuff.
Keep it going.
Yeah, even regular drivers can't go 50 days without backing into something. Like it's a testament to have a whole fleet do that. So great job, guys.
Yep.
Well, today, speaking of Thankful Thursday, today's topic is a little bit different. Usually we have some sort of, objective and learning something, but we're actually going to talk about something that is pretty common, but people really don't think about, and that is kindness. And although it's kind of a cliche thing, I feel like it really is super important in the workplace across so many platforms. We have in person, we have over the phone, we have what I consider those long distance relationships with our drivers. And that's especially important in those situations. What is kindness? Like, what do you think of when you hear that word?
I just think of, being nice to someone. Like, you never know what somebody's going through. So it's just putting on a smile and trying to make the other person feel good. I mean, no matter if you're having a bad day or not, that's not their day, but they may be having a bad day. So they just need someone to say a nice word, just say hi. I mean, it can just be as simple as that.
And, it doesn't necessarily have to be a thank you. You said it can be a hi, it can be a how are you?
Just
something
a smile.
Where it can change kind of the trajectory of that person's whole day, week, month. We all go through things in life, and that is such a struggle for all of us. We all have stressful days, and you just never know what your actions, good or bad, can impact a person. But I want to focus on the good. We get so caught up in the day-to-day that we often forget about just taking those few moments to check in with somebody or to show gratitude. We say this every Thursday, but it's something that we do every single day. I think when I saw this and thought about this topic, actually you were the person I thought of. And I'm sure people watching can probably agree with me. I think when you have a personality like yours, and what I mean by that is you're very selfless. You always think outside of yourself, and you always find a way to show kindness to every single person that you meet. Rather that's a hello, a smile, even if you're having a bad day. And I'm trying not to make you cry.
You know me, the big old baby.
But I genuinely believe that. There are some people that just are naturally that way. So, and you're one of those people.
Oh, thank you.
I'd like to say that I do, but
yes.
I don't always think that way though. And it's not on purpose or not out of malicious. Sometimes I get super hyper focused in things, and then I lose my consciousness around me, sometimes. And So checking myself, and that's why I always stop what I'm doing and focus on the person I'm talking to so that I can really focus on them. But kindness can be a variety of things. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that and what that means in the workplace. Obviously, being a kind person is great. You're at the grocery store and you let somebody in or out. Those things we kind of already know of. But what can we do inside of the workplace that really encourages kindness across the board?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Do you want to speak to it?
Sure, yeah. So I think that kindness, especially in the workplace, I mean, we could talk about kindness in our interpersonal relationships all day, and that could be a whole thing in and of itself. But specifically in the workplace, I think it's important because it nurtures a culture of safety, if that makes sense, and not safety in the sense of like, hey, get out and look, but safety in the sense of comfort and somewhere that you can go and not feel threatened every time you walk into the building, or maybe not necessarily threatened, but I guess ostracized. I think just acknowledging somebody else is more kindness than a lot of places will give you. Walking down the hallway, I know at least here in the office, if I walk down the hallway, I'll do my best to be like, hey, how's it going? Even if I don't know the person very well, I still want to say hi. I feel like it's weird to not do that.
Yes.
And, certain people will give the elbow bumps or fist bumps or whatever. And those kind of things do make it feel like we're all in it together. And it's not just head down, do your thing, go home, clock out, that's it. And sorry, I'm sure you guys saw that. But yeah, I think it's important to do that because if not, then you do end up with these workplaces that get a bit more toxic, maybe not like awfully so, but to the point where obviously nobody wants to be there. Obviously everybody's having a bad time. And sure, maybe you don't want to be at work all the time, but I think if that's your only personality whenever you come to work is I don't want to be here, that's going to spread to your other parts of your life too, and it's going to be hard to separate yourself from those two things.
Yes. And even if you think you're doing a good job of hiding it, people know your personality and they can pick up on that, and then it kind of rubs off to everybody else, right? And same thing, I mean, because you do a great job of, as you're walking down the hallway, just saying hi or whatever. And I know I could be working or, you're focused on something, and then just hearing like somebody's voice like, hey, Christy, or hey, Sheli, like it just changes your attitude about anything that you were doing. You could have just been annoyed because you got off a phone call or, read an email or whatever. And then you hear that and it's like, oh, and like they say, if you're kind of in a mood, putting a smile on your face really will change your attitude. And it does. It makes such a difference.
And there's actually been a ton of studies on this very topic of how to encourage a culture of kindness. It's been proven that it actually decreases employee burnout. It increases employee well-being and decreases absenteeism, which is kind of blows my mind. I wouldn't think that those two would go into hand in hand, but talking about environments and being okay to come into work and being encouraged that, okay, I'm not going to go to work, whatever it is, it just overall you want to go to work and you want to be there. So.
Yeah, because if you know that, we've talked about it before, it's usually where you spend the majority of your waking hours. And if it's with people that you actually enjoy, then it's not so bad. If there's actually people you can go and talk to and they're going to make it better. And even if you are having a bad day, you probably know there's somebody there that will make it a little bit better or, help take your mind off of it, or you could talk to them about it or anything like that. And so that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah. And to go to the point of, absenteeism, sorry, I blanked for a second. I think a lot of that comes down to, whenever you are kind to other people and other people are kind to you, you don't typically want to let those people down. And it's not that if you don't show up, you're going to let a bunch of people down, but it might feel like that. And you nurture these relationships and you are kind to other people, and therefore you don't want to disappoint them. And they're not going to be disappointed all the time. It's life. But it makes you more motivated to want to come and serve for other people and do things for other people, whether that be, showing up in the office, which is easier for us to do than for, obviously drivers to show up and drive. It's beyond me how you guys can get up and just
drive.
And just drive. Yeah, and just simply drive. It's
Yes.
crazy. But I think having that relationship with somebody else almost keeps you accountable to other people, which is good for everyone, because that accountability breeds responsibility and breeds family. So it's nice.
Yes. And speaking to the being on the road all the time, I think it is very important to keep in mind to be kind to our drivers, especially because they are out there, most of them by themselves for hours and hours on end.
Yes.
That has to get lonely, that, you get to, and anybody can get in a funk and stay in that funk. So I think it's really important, no matter how my day's going or anyone's, if my phone rings and a driver's calling, I need to put on that happy face, put everything else aside, so that no matter what's going on with them, if they're frustrated or even if they're already in a good mood, at least they have a kind person on the other side, somebody and they can feel that human connection.
Well, and kindness is all about fostering, like you said, the relationship and the trust. When you're kind to other people, you create this reputation.
Yes.
Wow.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday. For yourself. And then also you become this person that they feel like they can trust and rely on. And when you do that throughout the workplace, whether that's with a driver or with office people, you create that culture. We have created this culture of family, and part of that is being kind to one another because you care about the other person.
Yes.
You're increasing someone's self-esteem, their confidence in themselves, as well as just giving them a piece of yourself. And I feel like that's super important for us to do as people in general, but then in the workplace, that's especially important to be kind to others, because we all have stressful jobs. Our drivers are put in these situations all day, every day, and somehow manage to find ways to be kind to one another and take care of one another, as well as being kind to us here as well. And so we just always have to have that perspective of our words and our actions matter.
They absolutely do matter. And especially nowadays with road rage and everything that goes on. I mean,
yes,
I get irritated on my 10-minute drive home and just watching the way people drive. So I can't imagine, all over the place. It's bad and scary out there.
Do you think?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. So I was just going to ask, do you guys have any experience in previous jobs or in previous workplaces where kindness was not present and that affected your day-to-day stuff? And how does that differ from now?
I think we can both speak to that. Personally, I have been in roles that did not foster a culture of kindness, and it's incredibly, it's a beat down.
It is.
Like I don't have any better thing to say about that, because it does. It wears on you, and it's a struggle, and you, especially if you have the mindset where you want to do well and you have this work ethic, and but there's always this other dynamic. It's going to impact your productivity. I know it did for me.
Oh,
So-
definitely. Yeah, I was in a situation where worked with a lady that they brought in. They had made me an account manager. I was 20, and so they told me that the client wanted somebody a little older to come in and be a senior account manager. So she came in, which was fine. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. Like, I knew I needed some more experience, but I had to train her and show her everything. And so I did my best, but she, I don't know, just wasn't okay with it. Like, even though she was still above me, like, she wasn't getting any of it and was very stubborn about it. And you couldn't help her at all. Like, everything just wasn't right. And she just made it very uncomfortable, and you could never say anything to her. Like one day somebody asked her if she remembered the Lindbergh kidnapping. She went crying to our boss because she said that the lady was basically insinuating that she was alive during the kidnapping. And she was like, no, I was just asking. And so, but it just turned into, complaints all the time, but always trying to cover up what she did. Because if I went to her and told her it was wrong, like she was like, no, that I didn't do that wrong. That was on you. So just trying to make it better. And so it just got to the point where like you said, it was a beat down. Like I dreaded going in every day because it wasn't getting any better. She wasn't nice, and there was nothing to do about it. Like even when we told management, nobody really did anything. So then it's like, what do you do? Like you're just working extra hours to cover up her stuff, but being nice wasn't fixing any of it, and she wasn't going to be nice. So
what do you do in that situation where you're trying to convey kindness and you're not getting it in return? Do you continue to be nice? Do you stop being nice? What is the solution there?
I think for me, I was so young. Now I probably would have a better way of being able to handle it, but I was so young at the time and
still learning.
Yeah, I was still learning. I had babies, and it actually pushed me to quit and stay home. So my solution then was
it's great for your kids
to go home. Yes, because I was like, if I'm going to be here all day and all night crying, I'd rather be at home all day and all night. With the crying babies.
For me, when I was in that situation, and it actually went on at a couple of different jobs, but again, I was younger and didn't really understand how to handle myself in all situations. You learn as you go. You make mistakes and you learn from them. But one of the things that did for me, and of course I do have to talk about the other side of kindness, is for me it really hurt my confidence. It made me question my day-to-day, and it questioned my abilities. When I look back on it in hindsight, I'm like, gosh, if I had a little bit, more confidence in myself, then maybe I could have been able to do this or this, and that's the part that we need to remember for other people is, I keep saying your words matter, and something as simple as a thank you, something as simple as, I really appreciated your help training me. Mm-hmm. You're helping me.
Yes.
The least I can do is say thank you. But at the same time, some people that's not a normal thing that they grew up with. They don't know how to show that kindness. Maybe for some people, the expectation without the recognition is how they grew up. And it's how they've always lived their life, or that's how their jobs have always been for them. And so being kind also requires us to be a little bit considerate of others, that they may not have that same kindness in return.
That's not natural to them.
It's not natural for them. And so for us being kind, the best way for us to show kindness is to have no expectation of that other person. Mm-hmm. You genuinely make a honest and genuine compliment, greeting, whatever it is, without the expectation of it being in return. And you're going to be a lot happier as a result of that, because then you're not disappointed if somebody doesn't have that response, same response.
True.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we kind of project how we would react, I guess, or sometimes either do that or assume the worst in other people. I know I'm guilty of that for sure, but I know a lot of people live by the golden rule, like treat others how you want to be treated. We're kind of hard on ourselves sometimes. I think that it's better to treat other people like maybe like you would treat your grandma or something, treat them like your best friend, or treat them like you've always known them. Some of the best advice I've gotten was actually whenever I was working in a coffee shop, and one of my coworkers, I had just gotten to this, started working there, and super nice guy. As soon as I got in, he was just like treating me like his best friend. And I was like, cool, man. Nice to meet you too. You know, he was like that to everybody, every customer we had. And we got to talking one time, and he was like, yeah, you know, I used to not be a very open person. Used to be kind of hard for me, but I just started treating everybody like I've known them for 30 years, and now it's just super easy. And I was like, oh, all right. I mean, easier said than done for sure, but it's something to practice, you know?
Yeah.
If you walk up to everybody with the assumption that, hey, you know what, I'm going to talk to this person like I talked to my best friend of 20 years, you're going to have a better conversation with them than you would any other time. You're going to be probably a bit kinder to them, and they're going to feel that and probably reciprocate it. So I think being open with people like that, in the sense of being ready to kind of make yourself more comfortable around somebody, it's definitely something you have to consciously do. You know, you can't just go in and immediately be comfortable with someone. You kind of have to fake it till you make it, which is fine as long as you
I feel
are
like
being
that
kind.
applies
Yeah.
to everything.
Right? Yeah. But like you said, it is almost just like a feeling too, though, right? Like you have to feel it because people pick up on that warmth,
Yes.
or you can feel if somebody's being fake
genuine.
kind
Yeah.
versus, you know, being genuine. And so, yeah, even though you might not be having the best day, you still can change that and help somebody feel better.
Agreed. You know, and for our drivers specifically, there are so many benefits for us to show kindness to our drivers. We try to do that, you know, as a company, and every single day, our interactions, we want to show that kindness because we care about them, and they feel that. You know, one of the most important things that we have to remember is that the kindness and recognition is all the more important for our drivers because they're not here. They don't always see everything. You know, they get one or two interactions with people, and that's who they deal with all the time. And they connect with those people, and it's important. And at the same time, maybe they don't talk to you or me all the time. Maybe it's occasionally. It's all the more important that we show extra kindness in those situations so that they can feel that, because we're still developing those relationships.
Yes. Well, and especially because we're always telling them, if you need anything, call us, you know, reach out. That's what we're here for. So can you imagine they finally do? I've never talked to you before. I finally call and I pick up the phone. I'm like, yeah, what do you want? Like,
oh, you're done.
I mean, that's
I'll never
it.
call you again.
Exactly. I'd be like, okay then.
And that's the thing. It's like kindness doesn't have to be a compliment. It doesn't have to be a thank you. It's just how you treat others, you know, and it's just about having respect for another person. You know, the studies have shown that if you show kindness, people are more likely, of those people that you showed kindness to, they're more likely to not necessarily pay it back, but pay it forward to others. And so it actually multiplies
like a
across the
domino
board.
effect.
Yes. Just as if it's negative feedback that's in the environment, it's the same as you know, the positive. And that's the part that people forget, is it's just as important, you know, that you can change the environment positively, quickly and effectively and simply.
Yes, because I think how you leave someone feeling is what is so important.
Yes.
You know, because that's what they're going to remember about you. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're gone, you know, when they think back, it's like, oh, they always left me feeling good. But if every person does that for everyone, then we're all doing it and everyone's being kind.
And people remember times that you are not kind a
yes.
lot more than they remember the kind times. So
For
you
sure.
have to make sure to limit that as much as you can, or at least try to. I know everybody has bad days,
Oh,
and
of course.
that's going to be something that you have to deal with. But 9 times out of 10, if you are nice to somebody, you know, 5 days a week, and then the next week you have a bad day on like a Wednesday or something, that Wednesday is going to stay there for the next like month. You're going to have to really make up for it. And it is what it is, you know, but just keep that in mind whenever you are going about your day. You know, try and treat everybody nicely so that you don't have to make up for that, whether you want to or not.
Well, and probably also the kinder you are or the nicer you are, people will be a little more forgiving of, you know, you having your off day because they'll know, oh, that's not their normal personality. Something must be going on. You know, they'll give you a little bit of extra room, a little bit of space instead of if it happens all the time, like, you know, they're not going to really give you that.
Yeah, agreed. One of the things that still sticks with me is, if y'all recall, our fundraiser that we did during Driver Appreciation last year. I was so humbled by the generosity of our drivers. And I think that goes into play with, as a company, who we are and what we represent. And, we all have bad days. But as a general rule, we had so many drivers that we talked to who, if they donated, they got raffle tickets for a prize. Well, so many of them were like, I don't even want the raffle tickets.
Exactly.
Give them to somebody else.
Someone else.
I just want to donate. Mm-hmm. And I had a whole conversation with a driver that just left me feeling so positive on the inside because we got on the topic of, giving without any expectation, and if you want to donate, or that's an act of kindness, obviously, but if you are doing that out of the goodness of your soul just to help another person, a stranger that you'll never meet probably, and you have no idea the ripple effect that will have.
Yes.
And although we don't have all the details, for the last almost a year, of what our donations have done and the impact that it's had, we had such just a positive response, and it left so many people feeling really good about it. And that's going to stick with me for a really long time.
Oh yeah, that was huge. And especially when, they would step up and be like, okay, well then I'm going to do it for this many weeks. And then, so many people followed suit with that.
Yeah.
I mean, and at the end of the day, none of us are millionaires. We don't have money to just throw out, and so that, was the biggest part, is that they're always willing to give. I mean, our drivers are just the best. They have the biggest hearts and always putting others first.
Yeah, I agree. And that was one of the things that really stuck with me, too. That was like a few months after I got hired. And
you're still learning.
Still learning. I was like, what's going on? And then
there actually was awesome. A couple of times I remember hearing it in your voice, like, where they're donating and you're like, oh, well, okay. You just could hear the surprise and just the shock of the generosity.
Yeah.
You could hear it in your voice.
Yeah, which I think is great, and it's a testament to how great the people we have here are. So I respect it a lot. It definitely gave me a lot of insight into how everything is done here. So it stuck with me a lot, and I respect it quite a bit. I was going to go a little bit more on my words there, but I will save it. This is a family show, but I do respect it a lot. So, yeah.
The other part that I do want to also mention, because I think we're kind of running out of time, but is how our leaders can support that. The recognition is always important. Saying thank you is always important. But first and foremost, we all can lead, regardless of our position, but especially, for our driver managers and our leadership, the leading by example is the top thing that they can do, and leading with kindness in situations and showing that recognition. We need to do that for everybody, and we can all do that. That's something we can all do, is lead by example and show others, because it's easy to do. It's easy to forget.
It doesn't cost you anything.
Doesn't cost you anything. And you're encouraging and fostering a good environment.
Yep.
So with that, I want to thank each of you for joining us today. We hope that you got something out of it, and we hope to see you next week. Be safe.
Be kind.